Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Eek Acres. Some things I wanted to talk about in this video. Unlocking the office here to the pole barn. Gonna get out of this breeze, it's chilly today. Let me grab this door here. Oh. What I wanted to talk about in this video is I get people that ask me a lot of questions, and I've got a lot of comments, you guys, I have to go over and read and go through. And I try to get back to people, but sometimes it's impossible as just one person. But I wanted to talk about something that I'm sure has been on a lot of people's minds lately. You know, because people are getting worried, very, very worried. And I believe that when the evil takes over, which is going to be soon, I think we're all going to be in dire straits. Is the country any safer than the city? And I think they both have their pros and cons. Both the city and the country has its pros and cons of living there. But a lot of people are under the false illusion that living in the country, you're a lot safer. And that's not true. That just is not true. Because really, the only thing that is different in the country is you have more space, you have more room, less population of people, but that does not mean that people can't reach you. People can still reach you. No one lives so far that you can't be reached. There are places that are safer than others. I do understand this. But I come back to remember something I told a gentleman that has a YouTube channel, and he doesn't live very far from me. And this guy is a heavy-duty, serious prepper. And he believes he's got it all figured out. He's got a couple of young kids that still live at home. And I've spoken with this gentleman over the phone. And I'm not going to mention his name or his channel. But when I spoke to this gentleman, I told him, I says, you know, when your place is surrounded by thick forest, just like this place is, thick woods in all directions. Right across over here at the end of this 2-track is 100 acres of just woods. There's no homes, no camps, no nothing over there. Just unspoiled woods, 100 acres. And then over on this side is 55 acres of the same thing. And there's 40 plus acres that is owned by an Amish guy on the east side of the property. So there's really nobody around us per se. And I told this guy that basically has all the firewood you could ever need to heat your home for an entire winter, enough food to live off for 2 years. He's got every type of manual thing that you can imagine, focusing mainly on things that do not run on electric or batteries, because you got to think about how they did it back in the 18th century. You got to think about how they refrigerated food. How did they freeze things? How did they keep things from spoiling? But the thing that I told him, I says, the number one thing that is the biggest threat is that living in the United States, everybody knows that we are a country of arms. Just about everybody out there is armed with weapons, pistols, rifles, shotguns, semi-autos. And here's the thing. You got to think about like what recently happened to Trump. This is a guy that was out in the open, totally out in the open. And like I told this gentleman that's got a prepper channel, I'm just going to say his name was Mike. It's not his name, but I'm going to call him Mike. I told Mike, I says, all you'd have to do, if someone wanted to take you out and take everything that you prepped for, everything that you stocked up and saved, all your hard work would be gone in a nanosecond. Because I says, all you'd have to do is walk outside of your house, anywhere on your property. And if there was a sniper in the woods, up in a tree, just beyond a bush, use one round to take you out. I says, now your kids are on their own. Your place has nobody to defend it. And they can go in and do whatever they wanted to do. And it's no different where I live. It's no different. When you live out in the country, if somebody wanted to sneak into your homestead or get on your property and hide out. The downside of living in the country is that it gives the cover for someone to do just that. Whereas in the city, if you are up on the second, third, fourth floor or whatever you're living in, you've got a good field of view to see out throughout the city to see if someone is coming around. You have an advantage. It's harder for someone to hide in the city. But out in the country, there is a million places to hide. So when I think about being prepared, all you can do is be prepared if nothing violent happens. If you're left alone, you can store up your own water. You could store up your own food. You could store up batteries. You could have solar panels. All the things that you've heard about for many, many years on YouTube with what all people are doing. You could stock up and have everything that you would need. Extra clothes, extra supplies, extra ammunition, some extra guns. But if it came down to something that was violent, something to where somebody was just going to take what you have, unless you've got a whole army of people to stay on your property with you to help defend it and take shifts defending it, it's not going to do you any good, you guys. The reality of the situation of these people that are living in this false illusion that they can go about it themselves and do it themselves would be among the dead the quickest. It is almost impossible to do anything by yourself and go about it alone in this world today. We all rely on each other to get things done. We rely on each other for so many things. And yet a lot of people don't want to admit it or think about it. But it's true. We could stock the basement with all kinds of canned goods and dried goods. We could store water. We could do all these things. But like I told Bridget, I says, if someone wanted to do away with me to get to you or to the things that we have on this property, all they'd have to do is hide out in these woods. Hide behind the fence over on the other side of the driveway. Sneak up on the roof of this pole barn. One shot, take me out, and I lay dead in the yard. What damn good does it do if you have all these things and the minute you go outside, someone could just end you like that? I don't think enough people think about that, because the danger that you would be facing is only as dangerous according to how smart the individual is. If the individual isn't that smart, then the danger isn't going to be that great. But if it's someone that really knows how to think for themselves and knows how to eliminate a situation, then the danger goes through the roof. Because now you got someone that's smart, they know what they're doing, they're calculated, they're stealthy, and that's all it would take, you guys. All that hard work down the drain. Everything you prepared for down the drain. Because it would only take one person to just say, I'll wait until he comes outside. I'll take one shot. That's it. Now this place is mine. Everything he worked so hard for is mine. And I'll take everything he's got. This is the kind of stuff people need to think about, you guys. And if you think your neighbors are going to be there, guess again. Guess again. My closest neighbor is disabled. And the other closest neighbor is retired and elderly. And they're getting ready to sell their property. When it comes down to it, there will be those that you can count on and those that would be helpful, respectful, and super nice and would be able to barter back and forth. You help them, they help you. But there's going to be a lot of people, you guys, that are selfish and are only for themselves. And you're never going to know who those neighbors are until it comes down to it. And then you find out at the last minute the hard way. So when you think about what can you do to survive, what can you do to ensure that you can get by as long as humanly possible, you only need 4 things. A means to heat without electricity or gas, shelter, a roof over your head, and then food and water. That's it. Everything else is just a bonus. It only takes those 4 things to survive and stay alive. Heat, shelter, food, and water. Everything else is a bonus. Stock up on all the things that you're going to need and own as many manual things as possible, because it's going to be the manual things that are going to be the most useful and the things that people wish they had if they don't have it. I cannot stress that enough. I told a lot of preppers on YouTube back when they were showing what was in their bug out bags, and they were showing all this emergency essentials that were in their backpacks and saying, I got literally everything here that I could ever need to live in the woods for months. And I said to them, do you have nail clippers? Not one of them, not one prepper that showed the contents of their bug out bags had one pair of nail clippers. Why nail clippers? Because I'll tell you what, when you have something going wrong with your fingers or your toes that could become infected, nail clippers are the biggest thing that you're going to need for slivers, ingrown toenails, nails that are getting too long and painful to walk in your shoes. None of them even thought of that. And that was just one example that I told these people, you don't even have nail clippers. And they're like, oh my God, I never even thought of that. I definitely got to throw a pair of nail clippers in my bag. It's not the knives, the guns, and all the things that are going to save you. There really is not much outside of those things that you can do. Because we are creatures of consumption. And no matter how much food you have stocked up, you can't live off of it forever. Eventually, your supplies are going to run out. Even if you have 2 years worth of supplies, 2 years go like that. It's going to be 2 years this January that my brother's been dead. 2 years. And it seems like it just happened yesterday that he was killed. It goes quick. So no matter how much food you have, you're still going to run out. The only thing that's going to save you, my friends, for everybody watching this video, whether you believe it or not, is going to be Jesus Christ Almighty. We all need God in our lives, and that's what's going to see us through these hard times, and that's ultimately what's going to save us. Because it's not the saving from the world we need. It's the saving of our souls is what we need. Because we're all going to die. We just have to make the best of it until that time comes. Be smart, do what you can, and get what you need now. Because this fall, things are going to get really ugly. And don't forget to pray without ceasing. Give yourself over to Jesus Christ because we need him, you guys. This whole country, everybody in this world needs him. Because it's good against evil. And it's rising, and it's coming. And I hate to say it, but I think this fall, it's going to win. At least as far as who's going to be running this country come this fall. Thanks for watching, you guys, and we'll see you again in the next one. Bye-bye.